Are you looking for the very best products to protect your digital privacy? Well, Silent Pocket has everything you need with their patented product line of high-quality Faraday bags, backpacks, clutches, and wallets. Visit silentpocket.com today and receive 10% off your order by using discount code SHAREDSECURITY. Welcome to episode 188 of the weekly Shared Security Show. And joining me this week is co-host Scott Wright, who has manned the co-host spot for the last 2 weeks. Thank you very much, Scott. And also joining us is Kevin Johnson, who has been absent as the one of the co-hosts
whatever
of the
I
show
can do to help the world
over the last 2 weeks. But we welcome him back like the prodigal son. So welcome back, Kevin.
The prodigal son. I didn't realize I missed 2 weeks. You're right.
You did. You missed 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
I'm horrible. I don't have a doctor's note or anything. I mean, I wasn't sick, so there's no reason for a doctor's note, but I feel like I was absent, so I need to excuse it.
All that matters is that you're back now, and we missed you, Kevin. So, all right. So we have a couple stories this week that I think are pretty interesting to talk about. As you know, last week we discussed the major T-Mobile data breach, which apparently has gotten larger from what I've seen in the news. I've heard 40 million customers. Now I've heard 60 million customers. And I think when we reported it, Scott, they were only at about 8 million customers. So it seems to be getting worse for these guys.
Isn't that how?
Yeah. You know what's really suspicious? Is that you never hear them go down after a breach.
Yeah, why does it keep going up?
It was 80 million. No, it's 60 million. No, it's 20 million.
I feel like this is one of the biggest problems that we see with breaches is that people feel like they have to give a number. Like they have to say how bad it is.
Yeah.
Way too early in the process. And I'm going to blame government overreach with data breach notification laws, but that's just me being a jerk. I really, it's the news cycle. It's that they've got to get a number. Like, oh man, it was 40 million. Oh no, wait, we just did more research and, or not research, but more response. And we found that it was bigger. And this is why I say to people all the time, like, oh, I checked. There was 20 million people, and I wasn't one of them. Like, yeah, just wait a week, and wait a few days, and they'll come back out, and it'll be a bigger number. And it always seems to happen that way. And I don't remember where I was, and somebody was like, "Well, the big companies lie," and I'm like, I'm not saying they don't lie. But I've worked incidents like 2 days after you find out about it. You don't know how big it is. And if you do, you're way better at it than every other incident responder in the world.
And also there was some news about the Wall Street Journal has reported that the person behind this whole hack, a gentleman named John Binns, who is allegedly a 21-year-old Virginia native living in Turkey. All these guys seem to live overseas for some reason. Why is that?
I said that to you earlier. That I feel like every time you hear about a hack, they come back and it's like, it's so-and-so in Turkey.
Right.
And I'm like, Turkey's not that big. Is it a haven for hackers, or is it just a...
No, but it's a nice place to go if you're a hacker.
I want to be very clear. I'm not insulting Turkey.
It's just a nice place to go.
In Turkey. My question, I've never been there, but I've never heard it as a safe place to commit crimes.
Just a nice place to visit. Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't remember the name of the show. I don't know. I've talked to you about this before, Tom. I think, Scott, I've talked to you about it, that I have hotel TV. If I'm in a hotel traveling for work, I will turn on the TV for noise. And there are shows that I would never turn on at home. And not like, that sounds like it's porn. I'm like, it's just crappy shows like Locked Up. I don't know what it is about hotels, but I don't care what day of the week or time of the day it is. You turn on the TV and there is a what is it called when they play the same show over and over again? Right. No, not reruns.
Reruns.
Like a binge, but that's not right. A
Netflix
marathon.
and
Thank you.
chill.
Marathons?
It's always a
Marathons. Yeah.
marathon of Locked Up.
Yeah.
And they do this one that's Locked Up International, and every time it's been like Turkey, you're like, no way I'm committing crimes there. It's not happening. So I don't know, but they always seem to go there. But yeah, the guys from Virginia went to Turkey and then broke into Verizon. I'm sorry, T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Cell phone
Yeah, and
company, same thing.
Yeah, and he said he did it to harm the U.S. infrastructure, and even gave a lot of details that I'm sure law enforcement would love to know. Like, he did this from his home in Izmir, Turkey, where he lives with his mother, his father, and all these other things. I'm like, okay, the FBI is going to be on to you in about 2 seconds, but
Yeah, I always feel like people who give this much detail about what they did are full of it. Like
that's
I'm not
one
saying
way to look at it.
I.
Sure.
That's my first
You
reaction.
wonder.
I'm almost definitely wrong,
You
but
do
it just
wonder.
seems like okay. I have never broken into a company without permission and stolen 20, 40, 60, 80 million records. Um, but I feel like if I did, and I talked to a reporter, and that's a big if,
Yeah.
I don't think I would give them like, oh yeah, when I was sitting in my basement wearing my hoodie at 2255 Elderberry Court. Like I really don't think this is stuff, or maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know.
No, I think there is, kind of some hackers like to have the notoriety, right? They
Yeah.
they have to tell somebody,
Yep.
right? They can't
Yep.
keep it to themselves because they're so, hyped up over what they did. So somebody has to know. And
Why
what
not a
better way to get
reporter?
notoriety is a newspaper,
But
right?
again, if you're okay, I'll accept
Yeah.
calling the newspaper. It's the extra details you give,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
well, and I was eating a Big Mac, and my parents bought me an Xbox because they
Yes,
thought
why
it was
state all
cool.
that, right?
Yeah, like I don't know.
Exactly. Well, anyway,
So,
I'm sure
Scott.
next week we'll see them arresting this gentleman. So,
Yeah. Yeah, or somebody else
yeah,
claiming that they did it or whatever. Yeah.
exactly. Are you sick and tired of getting your credit card or debit card compromised? Well, it's happened to me in the past, and if it's happened to you, you know it's a time-consuming and stressful process to deal with. Look, credit or debit card breaches are happening all the time because there is very little protection out there to prevent your physical card number from falling into the wrong hands. Well, there is a great solution to this problem, and that's called a privacy card, which is a tool that masks your bank account information by generating virtual card numbers. So if your virtual card number gets compromised, your real card number won't. And on top of that, you can control all of those reoccurring online payments by deciding who can charge your card, how much, and how often. And the best part, you can pause or close out virtual card numbers at any time, which means you have total control over all of your online subscription and reoccurring payments. And right now, new privacy customers will get $5 to spend on your first purchase. So go to privacy.com/shared security right now to sign up and take back control of your online payments.
You want your organization to be secure and compliant and to have a healthy culture. But your employees' lack of awareness makes you vulnerable to data theft, fraud, and compliance penalties. It's frustrating that the boring, static training content that's being used today has failed to improve employees' ability to defend against cyber attacks. At ClickArmor, we know that without using gamification, it's extremely hard to get staff to understand how to avoid threats. Our gamified simulations and challenges have provided a 50% average improvement in thousands of employees' ability to spot phishing threats. Go to clickarmor.ca/shared security to get your free gamified phishing assessment for up to 500 employees. You'll see quickly how gamified simulations can help your team be more resilient and compliant and help avoid costly ransomware and fraud incidents. Let ClickArmor help you go from being an underappreciated, stressed out fall guy to being an innovative leader who's the catalyst for greater productivity in your organization.
So the next story really made me kind of LOL a little bit. China adopts a national privacy law. Who would have ever saw this coming? The first thing I say is like, is there privacy in China that the government has to actually put regulation around?
Let's be very clear. In China, the law, according to the draft that was discussed, and was the government was exempted from all the rules.
Yes.
Like, here's the privacy. We're not allowed to use facial recognition if you transfer data across. And the article, and I've not gone and looked at the draft of the law, but the article kind of implied any data being transferred out of the country, you have to go to this agency first and say, we're going to transfer this data. Is that okay? I didn't LOL a little. I laughed a lot as I read this one.
And the fact too that they called out that anything in this privacy law does not limit the government from any surveillance activity at all, which of course China is going to continue to do to their businesses.
I mean, isn't China where they started the social media credit score or whatever?
Yes.
Like, hey, you posted too many times on Chinese Facebook, and you're anti-vax, so your credit score is way low, as it should be.
It's part of their class system, I believe.
Yeah. It's my understanding. I've never been to China. I've been invited a couple times to go speak there, but I have never gone. So I'm speaking from a position of no expertise. But yeah, privacy laws. I read this, and I'd love to get your guys' opinion. I read this as a way for the government to legitimize penalties against companies. That's it. Like, hey, we now have a law on the books that we can go after and say, we're just doing what Europe is doing and protecting the privacy of our people. It's hand waving to me.
And they beat the United States, because now we're the only superpower that does not have a federal privacy law like GDPR or now the Chinese law. So they beat us once again. And
Does
so they
Canada
probably
have a? Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Don't you have a? I don't think federal is the right word, but privacy law.
You've got the.
Does Canada have a?
Sorry, what was the
I'm going to say
question?
federal, even though I believe that's not the right word in Canada. A federal privacy law. It is the right word. Okay, never mind. See, I don't know nothing. I'm sorry.
Yes, and it's called PIPEDA. It's called PIPEDA, Protecting Information and Privacy of Electronic Documents Act.
Okay.
So Canada is ahead of us too,
or something like that.
Yeah. Everybody's ahead of us. But I will tell you, as somebody who doesn't like adding more laws, I'm cool with them winning that race.
That's a good point.
And don't get me wrong, I really think companies should respect privacy. I think we should do all that kind of stuff. I can't drive across the Buckman Bridge every day on my commute and think to myself, man, government programs work wonderful.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. I most of the time agree with what Kevin says on any kind of issue like this, but it's so hard to predict what he's going to actually believe.
Here's a very simple rule. If it's not in the Bill of Rights, and I recognize that the Bill of Rights is a U.S. document, but I believe that the majority of what's in the Bill of Rights, and the Bill of Rights says this, right, that these are natural laws. We're not, the First Amendment doesn't give us the right to free speech. It prevents the government from taking the right we have naturally. So just because you live in Canada, I believe that you still have the right to free speech. It's real simple. If it's not in the Bill of Rights, I don't think the government should do it. But here's the problem. I am smart enough, and I don't know if smart enough is the right word. I am smart enough to know that I don't know what the right solution is. And like the privacy laws are a good example. I personally believe. Did we lose Tom? Oh man! So
I think we lost Tom.
Yeah,
but that's okay. Let's continue.
Here's the problem with the privacy laws for me. On one hand, I think that every example of privacy laws I've seen, from GDPR to California to, I'll say Canada, even though I haven't read it yet, is that they have good
why not?
intention, and then they are used badly, right? And let's pick on GDPR. GDPR had good intention. Hey, let's protect the privacy of our people. Let's give people the right to go to a company and say, screw you, hippie, remove my data. I like that intention. But what has GDPR changed other than causing every website that cares to do a pop-up about cookies, right? And
Except
give the
cookies,
EU the ability to
Yeah.
fine Facebook and Google fines they're not going to pay anyways. That's where, and so I don't know the right answer, but I do know that companies who can ill afford the expense had to hire lawyers and
Yep.
figure out how they do things, and like that's it. That's where I break down, is because I don't know the right answer. History has just shown me that it's rarely government.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's fair. In our case, in Canada, I think it's a case of pretty good law. I think everybody likes the law, but the details on implementation and the
and like I said,
enforcement
I've not read it
leave
yet,
a lot to be desired.
and I'm going to once we're doing it here. I'll go look it up.
Yeah.
Because I'm interested. I don't know. I don't think I'm hard to figure out. I recognize I am rarely the smartest person in the room, and I have very little empathy. My wife makes fun of me all the time because I can't empathize. Hey, Tom's back.
Hey.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I don't know. My computer just
He's back.
Totally died.
Maybe you should have rebooted it before the podcast.
It'll be really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you should go.
Guys.
Wait, mine's gonna go next.
It'll be really interesting to see what Zencaster does, because Kevin and I just kept on talking.
It's still going.
Tom dropped off, came back.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Is it hard enough to stitch it all together?
If not, we'll schedule another one of these.
Anyway, you missed a really important diatribe by Kevin.
Scott said it was hard to predict what I said. I said it's not, unless it's the Bill of Rights. I very rarely support.
Okay, now I have the rule,
but I recognize that I don't have the right other answer, like the pure play libertarian idea that the world will balance out and people is crap. And I'm a libertarian, so right. It's the same, and not to be political, but it's the same example with healthcare, right? I can tell you that in the U.S., the health insurance tied to jobs is the worst idea ever, until you examine how the VA runs, and then that's the worst idea ever as well. And so, do I like the fact that United Healthcare can tell me that they're not going to pay for something and it gets really, really expensive? No. Do I want the government doing it? Well, if they did it right, I'd love it. I've just seen no proof. It's why I know the moon landing happened. Because there's no way in hell the government would hide the fact that they faked that well. So I don't know.
So sometime this
someday
conversation.
But I will say
later.
It boils down very simply. China's privacy law is hand waving, so China can say, "Ha, we're better than other people."
No, they can say, no, we're not arbitrarily making up rules on the fly. We're referring to arbitrarily made up rules that were made up before.
Nice.
And I do love they implement the law and immediately list the applications that they're going to find for doing things. Like, wait, no, it doesn't work that way. You can't. I mean, obviously it does. They're China, but you can't hey, we changed the law yesterday, so you didn't fix your stuff. Boom, you're fined. So.
Nope.
Yeah. No grandfathering. No grace period.
No,
just
like we've seen multiple times. I don't think China. Yeah, I don't think
too
China's government.
Bad for you. We just changed the law.
So everything I've read, right? Tiananmen Square, but so Taiwan is a country.
Yep.
That just got banned. This podcast banned from China.
Thank you for that keyword.
No problem.
I'm
I'm gonna have to apologize like John Cena. Not gonna though.
So since we have a few more minutes left, I did want to. I know you heard about the announcement from Elon Musk that they're developing the Tesla bot, and I thought I'd ask Kevin if you would be the first in line when that goes up for pre-order, that you'll be getting a Tesla bot.
No, because I never bought the flamethrower either. I'm not a Tesla fanboy. I love my car, right? It's that simple. I will tell you that I think robots are awesome. I want a robot so bad it's not even funny, right? I also want to go to space. I will forever hate Barack Obama for retiring the shuttle system without a replacement, and that's not a political thing. That's just I love space, but
Fair enough.
even if I was willing to be the first person on the list, the dance by the weirdo in the suit just turned like, nope, not buying that thing. I can't get that out of my head.
It was a little strange.
What drugs did they give that dude?
I don't know, but I thought it funny. It was funny when Elon said that, "Don't worry, you can outrun the Tesla bot."
He obviously has
just
never
in
seen
case.
Me.
Yeah,
He's obviously never seen me run.
That's a good safeguard.
it doesn't run very fast.
What are the that goes on to Asimov's 3 laws, right? All these things, and make sure that they can.
If only
can't run as
Boston
fast as a
Dynamics
human.
would think about that.
Right.
Yeah, the AI thing. I can't decide whether that was entirely a Tesla the Onion presentation or if they're serious, right? Because I get the idea of, hey, what's a good way that we can demonstrate that our system works? Hey, let's put it in this robot and have it run around. Except that that's not what they did.
Nope.
they got somebody to dress in a suit and said, hey, there might be a robot in the future that does this. I would like to believe it was Elon Musk trolling all of us and we fell for it, but I'll probably be.
He's good at that.
I know
That's
he
right.
is. 2 weeks for the beta of FSD.
Yeah.
Every so often. 2 weeks. 2 weeks on Friday. It'll be released. I'm still waiting.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, thank you, both of you, for being on the show this week and the lively conversation, and most of it that I could not even listen to because my computer has rebooted all of a sudden. But
my pleasure.
I appreciate that, and I'll remember to reboot my PC next time. But thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Very nice.
That's all for this week's show. Be sure to follow the Shared Security Show on Twitter and Instagram for the latest news and show updates. If you like this episode, please hit that like and subscribe button, and please subscribe to us on your favorite podcast listening app. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week for another episode of the Shared Security Show.